This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
Masks of Nyarlathotep. Where last we left our investigators, Felix Bauer had just broken into the Guju house via the cellar. Shelby Shattuck, on watch, was able to spot an individual moving past the curtain in the front room of the Guju house. Felix Bauer had a, let's call it, interesting conversation with Luis de Mendoza, who was inexplicably in the coal hole with Felix Bauer. Luis was quick to remind him that once he was fully healed, he would be coming for Felix, and that Felix was simply removing the links of a great chain, making up a magnificent machine destined to, well, no one's really sure what, but it doesn't sound like its ultimate function is going to be a good one. Meanwhile, Madeline Harper is enjoying the questionable charms of Fat May Bells, where she is currently in conversation with her friend Mose, a poet from the Harlem area. There is a speaker, seemingly a minister of some kind, by the name of King David, who is addressing a number of the black gentlemen present at Fat May Bells, with talk of unions, strikes, rebellions, and organisation. It is here that Madeline has discovered that Silas Nkwani, her target, a man she came here to keep distracted, potentially, often has an accomplice, someone in his presence by the name of Mukunga Umdari. And if he is not here, and Mo says he isn't, he must be back at the Guju house. Madeline. Mose furrows his eyebrows. Did I say something wrong? Young woman!
Oh, God.
King David has his arm outstretched. You did not see him approach the table, but his arm is outstretched for a handshake. Young woman, I would shake you by the hand.
Madeline's brain also skips a couple of beats, and I look up, I smile, and I was just talking about you, and I'm going to come up to my feet and extend my hand back in greeting.
He gives you a big, beaming smile, and he places his other hand over yours as he gives you a firm handshake. Welcome. Welcome. It is so rare that we get young ladies of Harlem coming in here to join our little committee. Please come to the big table. You need to hear what I have to say, and I want to hear your story too. Please, and he doesn't let go of your hand. Please, and he pulls you toward the table.
You know when someone is politely leading you one way, but you're resisting? There's that just quick skip of your heel where it disconnects from the floor as you're pulling back and they're pulling forward, and I just immediately move through that moment, and I am going to sit down at the big table. I'm going to throw a look back at Mose, like, really? You let this happen to me?
Mose gives a clenched teeth, pained expression, and a slight shrug of apology. There's not much I can do, is his expression. Young woman, what's your name? Says King David, still smiling down at you.
I return the smile as radiantly as possible. Madeline.
Madeline, welcome. Welcome to the committee. We have grand designs here for the city of New York. Yes, we do. What's your trade, Madeline? I imagine a woman like you wouldn't come to a place like this unless you had a trade of your own. You're not some man's wife, are you?
Has he disengaged with me yet, or is he still holding on to me?
He's not holding on to you anymore. He has taken his position back at the pulpit, essentially.
The pulpit. I am going to, after being escorted to this table, I'm going to work my way around where I can collect a seat very close to Nkwame. I'm going to turn to the band directly behind us, or the stage directly behind us, and point with my nose. I sing. Mostly.
You sing? That is fantastic. I love a song. I love a song, I love a poem. He gestures over at Mose. You should join us more often. Mose puts his hand up in apology. I gotta do my reading, Mr. David, sir. Don't worry. I don't hold a grudge. Listen. Madeline, the singer. Shall I just call you Madeline Singer, or do you have a family name?
No, Madeline is fine, thank you. And I'm going to throw a look at Nkwame as if I'm holding him personally responsible for this moment as well. Everyone is going to get this today.
And Kwani is expressionless. In fact, you would describe his expression as almost switched off. He seems half asleep. He barely acknowledges your presence. His eyes twitch toward you, but his body does not move. "Miss Madeline," says King David, "I'm going to put a loaded gun in your hand. And I'm going to ask you to pull the trigger. I am going to ask you a question about white folk. Are you prepared to answer a question about white folk, knowing that this audience is friendly?"
I'm prepared to entertain your question about anything that you have to share tonight, Mr. David.
Well, they say that there are a few kinds of work for people like us, where white folk, they ain't gonna get in our way. They say it's our lane. They say it's our place. They say it's a place that we can prosper because we're keeping to our own. Like Mose over there writes his poem for people like us. You sing, I would gather, for people like us. I speak to people like us. Would you say that's fair?
I think that's fair, yes.
Good. So, let's say the New York is a ladder, Madeline. Let's say that the whole United States of America is a ladder. Where do you think people like us are on that ladder? Do you think we're on the first rung, the fifth, maybe all the way at the top or close to it?
I don't think the ladder was built for us, Mr. David. I think we're adjacent to it.
I like that answer, Madeline. You see, most people would say we're the bottom rung. Most people would say that we are the bottom rung, but that's not true.
No.
We are adjacent to it. You are quite correct. We're not a ladder, we're a staircase. We have our own method of climbing. We have our own way of ascending. You see, we don't swim in the same waters as the white folk of New York City. We write poems, we sing songs, and we speak to people like us, not to people like them. And so we need to start understanding that our staircase doesn't need to intersect with their ladder, that we can climb higher than those people who, if we try to climb their ladder, they would just use us to climb up higher. You'd find the white man's heel in your shoulder and his toe in your eyeball, if it meant he could climb a few rungs higher. Would you agree?
There is a genuine moment of pause when I realize exactly how captivated I am by King David as a speaker. And it's one of those things where I have to reconcile the fact that Mose was completely right. If you spend more than 30 seconds with him, suddenly you're seduced, you're enamored, you're captivated. And I recognize that that moment is happening as a point of not only surrender, but also of concern. Before I answer, may I reverse the handle of this loaded gun back to you?
You can do whatever you like with a loaded gun, Madeline. It's up to you whether you pull the trigger, really.
If we are building staircases, if we are ascending a flight of stairs, as you say, what do you think are our challenges? What is slowing our progression? What is stopping us from reaching the top of that staircase in your experience?
Yes, he says, pointing at you. You're not sure that that is an answer to your question, but he seems elated. Yes, it is the wisdom of black women that you do not get in white circles. It is that wisdom that comes from the background, the shared history that we have. Yes, all of you should listen to this woman. All of you should listen to her wisdom that's been passed down through generations, not in the written word, but in stories that her mother told her, and her grandmother told her, all the way back to the old country. You see, everybody, she is right. There are obstacles on our path. There are barricades, there are loose planks, there's the occasional slippery surface. And yeah, sometimes cavernous abysses, too wide for a single black man to jump over. But, he says, pointing at you again, what are the most common obstacles? What is it that we're going to encounter most of all? What is it that's going to slow us down most of all? I will tell you right now, all of you right now, it's disunity. It's disharmony. It is this, he says, gesturing widely to Fat May Bells. It's the people sitting in the corners listening in but not participating. It's the people sat on the curb out there drinking but not engaging. It's the people sitting at home whiling away their time before they've got to work another 12-hour shift. We need to work together. We can only make it if we work together. If people stand in our way, we need to bring them into the fold, because if they won't join the fold, they're an obstacle and they need to be elbowed off the staircase. I hate to say it to you, brothers and sisters. He's got full momentum now.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but at some point, even your brothers, even your sisters, if they obstruct progress, if they stop you from getting where you need to go, you need to make a decision. Sometimes that loaded gun, sometimes you need to turn that loaded gun on your own people, because they're not your own people. They bought into a corrupt system. And I suspect, everybody, that is what happened. That is what happened with Jackson Elias. If what the newspapers say is true, and I doubt it, but let's entertain for a moment that it is. What do you think happened? Do you think Mr. Elias took out Mr. Adams in a fit of passion, not from what they've reported, not from these ritual signs? I wonder if Mr. Adams got in his way. I wonder if Mr. Elias got in Mr. Adams' way. Mr. Elias spent some time with us here and there, now and then, asking about our organization. Maybe he was trying to work for the police. Maybe Mr. Elias was trying to lure Mr. Adams away. He is speaking completely in circles now. He is not getting to any kind of point. He is just agitating. He is just whipping this crowd up, because at one moment he is pointing at Hilton Adams as being responsible for his own death. Another point he's pointing at Jackson Elias and saying, but was he working with the cops? And then he starts pointing at the cops again and saying, no, it is the white cops, the Irish of the city, who are responsible for it all. And a shiver goes down your spine as you remember Arthur Emerson. And he concludes with a flourish. My conclusion, my brothers and sisters, is simple. To avoid pain like Elias is feeling right now. To avoid an end like Hilton Adams met. We need to be with each other. We need to be watching each other. We need to be arm in arm, marching down the street side by side, so no one can block us. And I say that if you're not with me, then you're against me.
Oof.
There is a great deal of thumping on the tabletop. Many, many souls in this room are caught up, whipped into a fervour by this preacher turned politician. And yet, Madeline, you might recall that in our previous session you succeeded on a psychology roll.
Mm-hmm.
And you did it very well. There is a veneer to all of this, or not a veneer, I should say. There is something beneath the surface of all of this that feels like a huckster. It feels like a charlatan. For all the magic of his words, they're honeyed words. They are speaking to every possible quarter in this room. They're trying to captivate every possible member of this audience. And whip them into a frenzy, sure. But you're just waiting for the moment where he's going to ask, and to do all of this, I'm going to need your money. And maybe that won't happen tonight. Maybe it won't happen in a week, but eventually, you can see from that smile on his face, he knows he has the crowd in the palm of his hand. Whether he's a con artist, Whether he is a believer, whether he's the devil in disguise, it doesn't really matter on the face of it. What does matter to you with your radically successful psychology roll is he is manipulating them. He is trying to get something out of all of them. And about the only person who isn't reacting, aside from maybe yourself, is Silas and Kwani, who still appears switched off.
I would say that I'm sitting through this event, but really what I'm doing is experiencing this event. I can't shake the feeling that I feel a mild intoxication by just sitting around the intensity and the charge of the thumping tables and the passion of King's voice. And I haven't partaken in alcohol in some years, but I keenly remember the sensation that I feel now, where I feel excited and I feel seen, but there's a fuzziness that's on the periphery where you can't really trust what's happening, but you also just don't care, because the sensation of feeling revitalized and charged is a welcome one, and it can shut down all of those peripheral emotions. And I vaguely remember sitting on a corner one summer in Harlem talking to an up-and-coming fortune teller, which had no actual aspirations of really researching the people or the things that actually can tell fortunes. But there are commonalities that you can pick up onto to bamboozle or hustle or shake people down. There are certain emotions that are very easy to trigger, especially if you understand your audience. And King David, intimately understands his audience. I get that sensation that he may be a charlatan or an up-and-coming politician. He's not asking for money now, and I have this genuine fear as I'm trying to see through my own intoxication that it might not be money that he's driving all of this charge to, because he has to have a destination, unless it's just his own self-aggrandizing nature that wants the attention. He's leading us and himself somewhere, and if it's not towards lining his own pockets, it might be something far more dangerous. And it's just one of those moments with, as revitalizing and charged as he is, I don't know if I care. And I resent myself for losing myself and becoming as intoxicated and seduced by this individual that I am. And it takes me several moments of sitting at this table, experiencing him, to dial some of that back. I am going to do whatever I can to hook myself into something grounding, something that I can control, something that I know isn't an emotional fabrication. I'm going to look at him, Kwame, and I'm going to say thank you for the invitation.
That seems to snap him from his comatose state. No problem.
You okay? You had this vacancy thing going on for a while there.
He twists his finger in the air in a loop. The words sometimes. And he smiles, and he is toothless again.
Oh, I was just about to ask.
Sometimes send me into a stupor. I've heard them all before. It is like a nursery rhyme, or the beating of drums.
I intimately relate to his articulation. It is like a nursery rhyme, or a beating of drums. Both of those have a destination. Where do you think he's leading us?
Leading us. Smiles again, still toothless. Not leading me. Them, he says, gesturing at the other hooting and hollering congregation. Wherever he wants them. Marching on the Capitol buildings, the mayor's office, into the frozen waters of the Hudson. Obviously, I hope not, but he is no more a saint than a circus magician.
At that precise moment, may I get a psychology check specifically on Kwame? What I'm hoping for is to try to figure out what plate it is that he's eating off of if it's not following King David.
Absolutely, yes.
Holy hell. My rolls on this dice today, this is a 21. I hit a 22 before, so I know it's a hard success psychology. Under 45, yeah, 21.
He's watching everyone else.
He's eating off of everyone else. Okay.
Yeah, he really doesn't seem to care all that much about King David. It's the presence of everybody else, the animation here, the energy in the air. Whether he's sucking it down like Mendoza was sucking on fat, you don't know. It would be hard to say, but Nkwani is clearly getting something out of this. And the more the speech was going on, the more people were becoming galvanized. It's almost like the lower he was sinking into his chair, the more satisfied Nkwani was becoming. It wasn't so much a physical manifestation as, well, his lack of animation in counterpoint. But now he's woken up. And he's looking you over, but not you. Not you, huh? Jaded? Is that it?
I don't like these dynamics, and I don't have a good read on what's happening beneath the surface between us, so I'm going to take a risk. I went to go see your importer this afternoon. I left with a broken rib after he blobbed on me.
Now you actually see his teeth descend. Last time they were there, then they weren't. Now you actually see them slowly enter his mouth. They come in rows, starting at the back and working their way forward. So now when he speaks with a hiss, and his eyes narrow. And your white friend? Did he get out?
Narrowly. Did you send us there to die?
He makes a gesture with his mouth, which is to say, I didn't really care either way.
I nod and appreciate the simplicity and the transparency of that.
Pantomime white man with black expert. Very subtle, very discreet. What do you intend to do, Madeline the singer? That isn't the name you gave me in the store.
Well, our intentions weren't entirely pure when we met you at the store. But I think we're both due for some transparency as I look back at his full mouth of teeth.
You two! King David gets between you. The group are breaking up now, spreading to different corners of the speakeasy. I wanted to speak to you again, Silas. I wanted to speak to you. Are you quite all right? He looks at the both of you. Madeline, I have to say thank you so much for coming along. I do have to say thank you. I would shake you by the hand again. He puts his hand out. Silas backs away as this is happening.
My eyes stay with Silas for just a beat longer, and then I'm going to shake King David's hand, but I'm going to use that also as a leverage or an anchor point to actually help lift myself from my feet, or to my feet.
I want to say thank you so much for coming along, because you know our membership, we've had people come and go. It's been tragic to see, and how many of them, how many of our brothers and sisters have ended up dead, like in the newspaper, all these symbols, and now that they're pointing at Mr. Elias as responsible for so many of them.
What is Silas doing right now?
He is sidling his way to the door. We need people like you, Madeline. We need young women with heart. We've lost 3-4 people from this committee now in grisly ways, and your being here will make the difference. We need more women, because as we know, it's the women who control the household.
Indeed. King David, this has been a very enlightening evening. I'm going to take that hand. I'm going to pull his hand to my lips. I'm going to very quickly kiss his knuckles. And then I'm going to do my best to spin out of that way to see if I can connect with Nkwame before he actually slips into the night and potentially out of my grasp, because I just may have made a very terrible mistake. Thank you. This has been such an enlightening evening. I'm going to call back whatever they told me that Fat Mabel says it every Tuesday or every Thursday. No, it's every evening that they meet. I look forward to seeing you at tomorrow, and I'm just going to use that as departure, and try to get to the door.
Okay, let's go for a dex roll, Madeline, to see whether you can reach the door before Nkwame scuttles out of it.
Hey, I hit an 83 over 60. I failed that without any type of self-penalty.
In that case, the pain does pop back. You all of a sudden feel the need to dab another load of that powder on your tongue, but right now you don't have the time. And Nkwame is out through the door and into the street. Are you going to pursue him into the street? Is that your intention? You know that there will be people around in some parts of Harlem, sure. But there will also be empty streets. There will also be alleys. There will be plenty of places where someone like Nkwame could get the drop on you, although he does seem quite old. Your choice. Are you pursuing him out into the street?
No, I think what's going to happen is as I get to the edge of the door with all of the momentum that I have going right before those suppressions kick off, I'm going to wind up wincing in pain and just hugging onto the side of the building as my eyes follow him. I can't pursue him in this state, and I may have just made a really damning choice. So no, I don't pursue. It's a risk. I can't outrun him. I don't know exactly what I'm dealing with, and I may have just poked a beast that has a much bigger bite than I'm prepared to take in my state. I need to get back home.
Felix, you are currently in the basement of the Guju house. You've just opened the door and you've entered a cellar with a 15-foot or 4.5-meter high ceiling. All the surfaces here are of dressed stone, and each of the stones in this cellar, every single one of them, has some kind of sigil or symbol marked into it. We will get you to roll on that shortly, but in the meantime, there are torches in wall niches lighting this chamber. This is deliberately antiquated. This house does have electricity. And beyond that, there is a curtain shielding part of the wall, just to the east of where you are. And at the end of the room is, well, it may be another drain, you're not sure. It's circular, but this one is covered by a thick stone block, like a disc that has plugged it. There is a large winch above it and a bolt, a sort of circular hook, in the top of the block, which probably can be used to lift it out. Finally, on the western wall, there is the doorway, an open doorway, which might lead to a staircase heading back up into the store. Alternatively, it might be behind that curtained off area. There is nobody in here because you succeeded on your luck roll earlier.
I'll look around and seeing what I see. I suppose I'm not surprised. I mean, they were engaged in things like this, and this certainly looks the part. I'll begin moving towards the draped off part to see if there's something there before making my way.
Can I ask you to make an anthropology roll?
02.
Wow! Do you want to spend 1 luck point to succeed?
Yes, I want to spend 1 luck to succeed that.
Fantastic. I love it when people spend luck on a rather trivial roll. But make sure you tick anthropology.
Yes, sir.
From your visits to the store earlier in the day, you actually recognize some of these symbols in the walls. Some of them you recognize as Kikuyu tribal signs from various of the antiques and collectibles in the store. But there are other symbols, specifically surrounding the plug in the stone floor, and also surrounding the curtained-off room. Those are symbols identical to those seen, spotted, carved into the exterior, and while you did not access the interior of the pyramid, but you would have been told about what they look like from the pyramid in Peru.
And there's a direct connection. This is interesting.
Do you still wish to head into the curtained-off area?
Well, now that I'm in here, this blocked-off thing, is it possible to open it up easily?
You would have to hook the winch and start cranking the handle, but presumably you wouldn't be able to lift it with your own strength. It's the stone is far too heavy for that.
Does it seem like it would make a lot of noise?
It would definitely make noise. Whether it makes a lot of noise, you don't know until you start cranking the handle.
Alright. Let me just have a peek at that draped off area first, and I'll come back to this after I have looked at that.
You slowly push the curtain to one side and peer into the alcove and see something quite horrific. Shelby, Felix has been gone now for some time, at least 5 minutes. Your position in the alley is still concealed, but there is a change. Namely, the front door of the store opens. A large black man, as wide around the middle as he is on the shoulders. He could give you a run for your money in terms of bodily girth. Is standing in the doorway now, lighting a pipe. He is wearing a vest and pants done up by a belt. His fists are thick like bricks. He strikes a match and lights the pipe. Maybe he's been forbidden from smoking inside the store. Who knows? Or maybe he just wants the night air. He isn't looking around the courtyard as if expecting to see anyone, but you know that it really isn't that far away, and that if he looks down to his left, he is going to see that the drain cover has been moved. It was not replaced.
Is he facing away from me?
Right now he is facing across the courtyard, so technically toward you, except he cannot see you at this time. You haven't moved. You are part of the scenery. Actually, that's not fair. Most of the time he is just looking downward and at his pipe, and occasionally following the smoke going up from it. He isn't looking at anything.
In my head, I'm trying to envision, because when I was in school, one of the activities that I ended up being very good at, surprisingly, was boxing. And I'm trying to determine if I can move fast enough across the courtyard to get behind him and hit him with the butt of the gun to knock him out.
I am going to make it a damn hard thing to do, because he is, for all intents and purposes, directly in front of you. You're going to somehow, in wrestling parlance, Pearl Harbor him from the front.
Then let me adjust my odds. I'm assuming this is an alleyway. There's probably like loose debris nearby, like I'm taking like a spare like rusty can that's laying in the alleyway, and then I'm going to throw that over his head so that he hopefully makes noise behind him so he turns around.
Oh, okay. And you're just hoping that he doesn't notice the thing flying over his head.
Right, because if he's looking down, it may go over his head before he notices.
Exactly. Okay, make a throw roll then, Shelby.
78 over 40, so I'm gonna spend a point of luck.
Well, I should tell you what the critical failure would be. That should always be the risk. Obviously, if you fail on a pushed roll, it is a critical failure. A fumble, a botch, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, not only do you throw the item and he sees where it comes from, it also hits him square on the chest, so he knows it was you who threw it and will immediately have a negative disposition towards you. Now, he may have a negative disposition if you throw it and he sees where it came from, but if you just simply fail, he will know it came from the dark shadows of the alley and will approach. He won't know it's you. If you critically fail, he will see you and advance. No doubt about it.
Difference between, hey, something's over there, got thrown at me, versus a white guy just threw something at me. That is a hard success, 14 under 40.
Your projectile flies over the head of Mukunga and into the store. It's one hell of a shot. You've not played baseball in some time, but you're beginning to remember how good you were as a pitcher. He turns around, confused. Something clearly must have fallen over in the store. And now he is all but blocking the doorway. He is that wide, but his back is to you, and he's about to go stepping in. Are you rushing up behind him?
Yes, I'm going to rush up behind him. I'm not going to have my finger by the trigger of the gun. I'm going to have it to the side, but still have a nice big heavy hunk of metal in my hand as I hit him in the back of the head, try and knock him out.
So, again, no specific mechanic for this. I'm going to give you a choice here, Eddy. You can roll to hit, which is fighting brawl. And I will give you a bonus of plus 20 to your skill, because he doesn't know you're coming. That will simply inflict damage.
Okay.
If you succeed. If you go for a hard fighting brawl, essentially what we're talking about is, in story path terms, we're buying a trick there, which is going to be knocking him down or knocking him out. But you've got to succeed on the hard fighting brawl. Again, you'll have plus 20, so it's plus 20 to your base value, so that would bump it up to what, 70?
So it'd be 37, 38.
Okay, so you need to get beneath that figure, if you want to just knock him out in one blow.
I would like to do that, because that feels very dramatically appropriate and appeals to my pulp writer sensibility. So I'm guessing the 99 is not going to help me.
So here's what will happen if you critically fail. Your finger may not be on the trigger, but your gun will still fire. I will then roll and tell you whether it misfires and hits you, hits the wall, or hits Mukunga.
Okay. Here we go. 34 under 38.
And indeed, you crack the butt of your gun down on the back of the skull of Mukunga Mdari, and he crumples. He doesn't turn to respond. He doesn't look to see who it is. It is an immediate blinding blackout. And so he falls to his knees and crumps down on his face. All you can imagine is perhaps the pipe that was in his mouth has actually been thrust to the back of his throat. But as he is laying on his front right now, it will be very difficult to tell. Shelby, if you're going to act beyond this, you better dictate what you're going to do very, very quickly. He might get up soon.
As soon as he falls, I'm going to drag him the rest of the way into the building and shut the door.
Okay.
And then, since I saw Felix going down, I'm going to hope that he is in the cellar or somewhere in the basement of the building, and I'm going to try to find a staircase going down.
Okay. You quickly make your way through the store front. There is no obvious cellar entrance. Here, you open the door to the storeroom to the rear, and you find yourself in an abode, basically. This may be where Nkwani lives. There's a small bed, a unit, cabinet, some bookshelves and such. You can see that there is a desk with a ledger on it, a few of the antiques that haven't been put out on display, but crucially, no staircase. There is no staircase here in the store or in the living quarters, and the windows in Nkwani's chamber here are barred to West 138th Street, the reverse of the property. I would like for you to make a spot hidden roll, please, if you're searching his lodgings.
01, actually. Holy crap.
You start pulling this place apart at the seams. You know that Felix might be in danger. You can't hear him. You don't know where he is. He could be trapped under the building for all you know. And so you start rifling through it. But on a 01, you do so basically checking and then putting things back. Checking, then putting things back. As far as anyone's concerned, as far as the NYPD are concerned, there was never a break-in, should they ever come to investigate. So you are successfully discreet. There's a few things you find in this before the crucial hatch to the staircase. As you are in his living quarters, you move the ledger briefly, just to see if there's anything underneath the table, and you notice there are weekly payments in the ledger to a WF14. You don't necessarily know who that is, but you might want to make a note of it. So yes, you notice there are weekly payments to a WF14. You don't know who that is, you move on. You move his wardrobe aside. As you do so, it opens up and you see something hideous inside the wardrobe. It is a mask. It looks like a stocking or sleeve that you'd pull over your head. And on the front of it, like a noose almost, it takes you a while to realise what exactly this is. Make a sanity roll.
No, I think I know what this is. I think this is a tongue. 7,685.
It is indeed a bloody tongue, a mummified tongue, and you'd lose no sanity, maybe because there was an expectation, based on the cult's name, that, it would appear that Mr. Nkwani, or perhaps his henchperson, has a mask here and is part of some insidious cult. Fancy that. You then make your way back to the store. Luckily, Makunga is not waking up yet. But you shift the rug that is behind the counter, and sure enough, there is a hatch. There is a hatch that leads downstairs. But here's the rub, Shelby. There is a padlock, and you do not have the key. You do know, well, you don't know, Felix and Madeline did see a key around the neck of one Silas Nkwani. But Felix, while all this is going on, and you are completely unaware of it, you have peered behind the curtain, and what you see along each wall of this alcove are two, at first you think maybe mummies, that maybe for the store, but adjusting to the flickering torchlight, Felix, you see these bodies are far too fresh to be ancient mummies. They have the same symbol carved into their foreheads that was reported on the body of Jackson Elias's purported victim. Their tongues hang out from their mouths as if dislocated, so hanging far lower than a tongue rightfully should. And those tongues are adorned, studded, as if like a pork joint studded with cloves, but with gems and beads and what might be seeds. They are bound tightly in gauze, but you're not sure to what end, maybe to preserve them for a while. These bodies are resting in place, in alcoves, in the wall, within this place, and that's not all. There is a full cabinet in here, just beyond the two of them. You'd need to pass between them to reach it. First of all, I'd need a sanity roll from you, Maciej.
That is 31 under 62.
Wow, okay. So in this case, you're only going to be losing 2 sanity. Just a flat 2. 1 for each of these mummies, or cadavers. The question is, are you going to reach past them? Are you going to step past them? Or are you going to leave them and this cabinet be? It is quite an ornate cabinet, it has to be said. Many doors, small drawers, and large openings that could contain any number of treasures. But what allure and what danger it might hold.
Yes. It is alluring, isn't it? I will reach in a bit further then.
You reach in past the corpses, these mutilated victims of this cult of the bloody tongue. And as you do so, they move. Felix, make a dodge roll if you intend to leap back. Make a dex roll if you want to move further into the chamber and therefore press against the cabinet.
I need to get away from these things, so I'll dodge then to get back out. This is really bad. It's an 84 over 75. I'm going to use a point of luck.
A critical failure will see you grabbed by both of them.
That is a 97.
You totter and stagger and try to step back, unprepared for these corpses awakening. And that just makes you fall back onto your behind, and they descend with you. They don't creak and crack. They are not dusty old mummies from a tomb somewhere in Egypt. These are fresh, wet bodies that are still rotting in their husks, and so they move with an uncanny litheness and are both atop you, their tongues dangling and almost stroking you, but roughly as they grab you. One of them has you around the ankles immediately. The other one doesn't grab you under the armpits, grabs you around the face. And they start pulling you out toward the main chamber. They have you seized, Felix. One of their arms is around your mouth, making your screaming close to impossible. All they'll be able to hear, or all Shelby might be able to hear, is a muffled moan. Nevertheless, do you moan? Do you scream?
I try to make as much noise as possible, and while I'm trying to go for my gun, but I guess that will be difficult.
Shelby, make a listen roll.
91 under 20.
Would you like to spend a luck?
What's the quick fail for this?
Silas and Kwani arrives at the store.
Alright, let's do this. Spending a luck. 89 over 20?
Shelby, you are deafened to what is going on with your companion, Felix, because it's at this moment that the front door of the store opens, pulled outward, and you're there on the other side of the counter. For a curious moment, almost comedic moment, it looks like you are the owner and a customer has just arrived as the tinkling of the bell signals the arrival of Silas and Kwani, stood in the doorway, right now looking down at Makunga, and then quickly his head snaps back and his eyes focus on you. And that is where we shall end our session. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play Masks of Nyarlathotep for Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Joining us as our keeper is none other than our dear friend Matthew Dawkins, and we were also joined by Bridgett Jeffries and Eddy Webb. The music was made by Aegersonus and Halgrath, and we've also used Cryochamber's Lovecraftian compilation albums. All of this with the permission of Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, Maciej, Black Templar, Dennis Sadecki, and Leonhardt for their generous support. You would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, this show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Infinity Lost, Call of Cthulhu, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and Warhammer 40k Imperium Maledictum there. And you can also get early and raw access to all of our recordings, and hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as even play some Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, I am the last. I will tell the audient void.